Right then, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Assetto Corsa Offline Championship. We are here for round number 4 of the 2021 Super Formula Championship here at the Mandalika International Circuit in Indonesia. Yes, we're finally back with some more Super Formula, and we head back to the Asian continent for round 4 of the championship. We've got 20 minutes of qualifying just ahead of us. In the commentary booth today is me, as always, Miran, and alongside me today, once again, is Jensen. Good afternoon to you.
Hello, good afternoon. I think the biggest surprise of today is the fact that you've invited me back for commentary, but yes, we roll with it. I didn't even know Indonesia existed until today. So thank you for enlightening me. I didn't know this track existed until today, so thank you for enlightening me as well. I've just been blindfolded and dragged to Indonesia to do commentary with you, Miran. So hopefully you can give me a few pointers to the track today.
Yes, indeed, and a good thing that you don't know much about the track, because I am about to educate you, Jensen. As we're just witnessing Aiden Smith on his first flying lap, I will go through the track. So, the Mandalika International Street Circuit, as it is called, despite being a permanent circuit, I don't know why it's called that, but it was opened in November of 2021, making it one of the newest tracks on the Super Formula calendar. The track hasn't hosted much due to its very, very short lifespan. It's hosted the Indonesian Motorcycle Grand Prix in MotoGP ever since 2022. It's hosted World Superbikes and also the Asia Talent Cup as well, all those being motorbike series. So you actually haven't had any open wheel series come here in its history. It's only been motorcycle races, which is what this track was built for. This layout, though, that we are running is 4.3 kilometers long and features 17 turns. And I don't think it's fair to talk about the race lap record, considering it was set in a motorbike, as we are here in these very, very fast and very high downforce Dallara Super Formula cars. But yeah, considering this was built for motorcycles, the track has a very, very flowing nature, lots of open corners, lots of high-speed corners as well. But it has a few tricky corners to its name, a few tricky low-speed corners, namely the final 2 corners of turn 16 and then turn 17, also turns 2 and 3. So it is going to be quite a challenge for the drivers today. Either way, we're having the first few times on the board then, and all eyes will be on the championship today, and especially this man we're currently looking at, Rahul Patel, in the championship lead at the moment.
Yes, as we've just seen now, I think just 200ths of a second up through sector 1 there. The track now opening up a bit. It's a very, very wide track. One thing that I've noticed straight away after having my blindfold removed, coming now into, I think it's a very technical section coming up here. It looks like a flat corner, but it isn't. It's a kind of shallow, but not shallow corner as the Evchi goes on top there. 15 minutes ago in qualifying, I'm going to see Patel now, I believe, just coming through the final 2 corners now, through the hairpin, just passing pit exit and coming into the pits, and that's ruined my commentary. So thank you, driver.
It happens often, don't worry about it.
See now?
Yeah, we're just having Samet Özkan across the line, then currently in 7th. He goes across the line, but fails to improve. Obviously, this is the second time Super Formula visits Mandalika. Rahul Patel finished on the podium last time out. We were here, so hopefully he will be able to repeat that feat once again. As Paavo Sar now goes up into 8th. We just saw Jafari Blackwood get an improvement, but he is down to 9th. Erkin Nytt improves, so does Ryan Adam in P5, as Blackwood could be on a pretty decent lap here, Jensen. He's actually gone fastest in the first sector.
Yes, so now I have no idea where they are on the track right now, just coming through heavy braking zone. But this is one of those corners where he needs to try and carry as much speed through it as possible, because that's going to set you up for the end of the lap, because I don't think there's too many heavy braking points now through turn 12 and up to turn 13. There isn't really too much place where you could gain back time once you start to leak it a bit down the straight. But now heading towards the final hairpin, it's a bit like turn 1 in China at the Shanghai International Circuit, a bit like that, where it starts quite fast, so you have to slowly ease onto the brakes to make sure you don't lock up. And now Blackwood crosses the line, moves up to 7th, overtakes Smith for P7, but I think Blackwood was in P7 earlier anyway, and he's been re-overtaken by Smith back for P7. 30 minutes ago here, just watching Smith now. I think Smith will be coming in, as Saar goes second, I believe, 200ths of a second away from pole position. Evchi still in pole position, and I'm sure Evchi's going to be happy about that after the opening few flying laps. Just watching Saar now. I don't know if Saar's going to be pitting this lap, but Saar is half a tenth up through sector 1 as Noah Sad P10. Back to you, Miran.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if Pavel Saar is going to be able to topple Miran Evci for that pole time. There's still 12 and a half minutes to go in qualifying, so I think we will be expecting a lot of improvements here so far, and they could very well be someone going faster and taking provisional pole at the moment. Giulia Cesetti in that first sector equals FG's first sector time. We'll see if she's going to be able to improve on this lap then as she rounds turn number 10. Obviously back after being sidelined for a race. She missed Sebring after a quite heavy accident at I think, was it Okayama? Yes, it was. And now she is back in the Kuo Vantalen Team Tom's machine and currently sits in P12. Obviously, I think one important thing to note as well would be the Teams Championship. It is still early doors in this season. Obviously, we've only had 3 races, but I think we can start to see a few teams asserting themselves as potential top runners with their drivers.
Yes, so just going to see now. So yeah, it's a 7-point gap between first and second in the constructors' standings, which it's always quite nice to the teams duking it out. Because at the end of the day, I think most motorsports where it's constructors duking it out, I think it's a testament of the engineering that goes into these cars. A lot of the time you see the drivers on track, and a lot of the time you see online and in lots of places people discussing about, oh, is it just a car? Is it just a car? The car's carrying a driver. It's just a car. Blah blah blah. But you have to remember that there are people working on these cars, and I think that's what the Constructors' Championship is meant to represent. All the teams' championships is what that's meant to represent. Just watching now with Cisetti. Cisetti, ever since having the accident, she's only finished that first race, which she won. So has 20 points. On round 4, she's still in 5th and still well and truly in that title race, only 11 points off of Patel in P1, which just shows how close both titles are, to be honest, that you can miss 2 races pretty much and still be in a chance of taking the championship lead.
Yeah, and there's also so many rounds still to go in this season, so these might be the championship contenders in the first few races of the season, but we could have someone rise up from the lower positions right now maybe and even become champion. We don't know how it is going to play out over the course of this 12-race season. Either way, you can have Zachary Fitzwater across the line, and the Australian stays in 7th for the time being. But yeah, at the moment for Cisetti, she's going to have to hope to get herself into the top 10 at least to be able to carry on the form she had at the opening race in Fuji Obviously, she'd like to probably make amends for the 2 races she hasn't finished in the season yet.
But yes, one thing I want to point out, P2 Star has not scored any points this season yet, so a P2 start might well and truly set them up for quite a few points, I think. I think if you can hold on to P2, score 15 points, 16 if you get the fastest lap, that's going to set you well and truly up for the season, especially this early on. So that's what I've got to say there. The Estonian driver doing quite well for himself up in P2. Just watching now with Adam. Goes 0.08 of a second faster through sector 1, I believe. Just going to see though, as they come towards heavy braking zone. Got to get that apex right onto the exit. Trying to go as far out onto the curve as he can without extending the track limit. Through sector 2, they are a 10th up. So this could be a chance now for Adam to take the pole position away from Miran Evci, who, breaking all known laws of physics, is sat with me in the commentary box and out there on track at the same time in pole position. So Adam's now rounding the final corner, or the final 2 corners, I should say. Gets his apex there, now he's just got to floor it and get the exit, crosses the line, and he's only 3rd. 200ths down.
He had a very, very good first and second sector, but I think sector 3 was the most crucial one. I think he just screwed it up, unfortunately. Still a good improvement from Ryan Adam, getting himself up into 3rd. If he's able to keep that, it could be a very good qualifying position for the Italian driver, but at the moment, I don't think. I think he'll be feeling a bit gutted about missing out on a provisional pole. As up into 3rd goes Leon Tremblant. Very good lap from him. You have Emilia Konechina across the line as well. She stays in P16 for the time being. Emilia Konechina as well, the former Formula 1 driver, getting off to quite a slow start in Super Formula, not scoring any points in these first 3 races, as we now do have a new provisional pole sitter. Aidan Smith in the Team Down the Line racing car has gone on to provisional pole with a 1:15.978, and he becomes the first man to get himself into the 1:15. That is a very good lap from Aidan Smith.
Yes, that is put themselves on provisional pole. Going to see now, there's a massive train of cars following him, probably trying to get a bit of slipstream down in towards this technical section here now. As we were saying, I think Adam probably messing up that final long right-hand corner, which is a very technical corner. You have to get the braking, the throttle just right. We've got a new provisional pole sitter as Sambi goes fastest by, I think that was 400ths per second, and becomes the second driver to enter the 1:15s. Yeah, and
this is Super Formula qualifying at its best, I do suppose. Usually later in the session is where it usually tends to get a bit more heated in terms of big improvements, and I think they're just starting to come in now. Ekoto Sambi as well, the man 4th in the championship, who won at Okayama, will be wanting to repeat his success as his teammate. Eric Nosa goes up into 4th, that's 5th, as Giulia Cesetti goes on to provisional pole by almost a tenth of a second. It is about, I'd say 600ths of a second then she takes provisional pole by, but that is good news, very, very good news for Giulia Cesetti, as she hasn't let her injury woes get to her.
Yeah, that's very good performance there from Cesetti. 600ths of a second, that's nothing. That's barely anything, but in a sport that is close, it could be absolutely everything. Like the whole field right now, P1 to P19, spread by, I believe, just under or just over half a second. Like, you think how much half a second is, and just think how long this circuit is to be spread out by half a second. If you can find a 10th of a second or 2/10ths of a second, you're going to be well up the field. It's just watching Patel exit turn 1 into this chicane. I think Patel's just going to have a little bit of dirty air from the car in front, which is going to hamper them through this next bit. Just going to see their split through here, 400ths down. Just seeing what's going to happen here. I think Patel is probably going to suffer a bit behind that car there. Yeah, but it just depends. I think with that final bit, is Giuseppe goes even faster.
Yeah, that is a very, very strong improvement. I think to take provisional pole is one thing, to improve upon it is another. Giulia Cesetti extending her advantage over the field and with a 1:15.776, and she puts herself about 1.5 tenths ahead of the rest of the field, and that is certainly impressive.
Yeah, that's certainly impressive. As I was saying, how close this field is, and you can find a 10th out of nowhere. Truly remarkable, especially considering she's been out injured. Would have thought it would have taken a couple of races for her to get back up to speed as Patel goes P2. Clearly that car not hampering them that much. I don't know if the track is starting to speed up a bit. As more and more rubber's laid down from these tyres, but Patel up into P2. Giuseppe still holding on to pole by 1.5 tenths. Patel now through the sector split. How fast is he going to be? It's going to be 1/10 of a second down. So we've got as we enter the final 3 minutes of qualifying.
Yeah, if Patel manages to do well in this third sector, he could at least be on for a personal best here, I do suppose. Emilia Konishina got herself up into 8th, so she's at least gotten herself into the points. We're going to see Patel sector 2 time, then he's about 1.5 tenths off Chisetti, so I don't think it'll necessarily be an improvement for the defending Super Formula champion. So I think, unfortunately for Patel, he might just have to abort this lap or try and go for a new one. And he is going to go for a new one here. He is going to try to finish up the lap. And we'll see if he is going to be able to squeeze an improvement in here. He does, actually. And injures himself a tiny bit closer to Chisetti, but still 1/10 off the Italian.
Yeah, only 4 cars right now, or is that 5 cars? 4 cars. 4 cars breaking the 1:15 barrier, breaking into the 1:15s, and Nit now onto their lap. Through the chicane they go. I believe these are Dallara cars, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are Dallara. Wow, what a guess. I totally don't have the Wikipedia page open right now. Only 100th of a second down there, as Miran can say that name for me, watching on board, or not on board, but watching off track with Miran, you can continue.
Yeah, that is Emilia Konishina, who we're currently watching right now in the KCMG. And obviously she will be aiming for at least a top 10 start here today, I do presume, and we'll see what she's going to be able to pull out of the hat with just under 1.5 minutes to go then in the second sector here. She's about 2/10 off, so I'm not sure if Konishina is going to be able to improve, but we'll just have to wait and see as she now makes her way through this third and final sector.
Yes, now just watching now through this technical right-hand corner and diving into the pits. I think that's their qualifying over. We've got 50 seconds left now. I don't think we're going to be seeing any more fresh tyre runs coming out of the pits. As Noah said, through turn 1, car in front of them, probably going to have a bit of dirty air now through the chicane in sector 1, heading up towards the sector 1 split time. And we're just going to see now how far behind Chisetti. 1/10 of a second. It's very, very, very close here in Indonesia right now. It's into the dying stages of qualifying. Noah Sad cutting away now round the final corner. Ojkan crossing the line, goes up into P8. Respectable. As we're just going to see back to Miran Evci on pole at one point in the session. As qualifying has officially ended now. Miran Evci, probably the first car to cross the line and to finish. Stays P7. Blackwood now crosses the line, improves to P7, knocks Evci down to P8. Sambi now through the right-hand corner, diving into the pits. And I think Noah Sad following suit. Fitzwater Senior now just heading up towards the final few corners, the final corner complexion. Takes a wide line and then sweeps in. Going to complete his lap, see where they finish, where they end up. 1:15.7 to beat Chisetti. Goes up to P9. And now Chisetti can't improve, 2 temps down. Ozkan now final sector. He's got one more car behind him. And I'm sorry, Moran, I'll let you get in a minute. Ozkan now through the final corner. I think a few of those cars diving into the pits. 1 minute 15.7 to beat. Moves up to P7. Tremblant, P6. And I think that's Chisetti on pole.
Yeah, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. And qualifying done and dusted, and taking pole position here at Mandalika, then it's going to be Giulia Chisetti. And a very, very interesting qualifying session coming to end then, Jensen. I think you would have to agree with me.
Yeah, very interesting qualifying session. A very, very close field as well, so hopefully that sets us up for a very, very exciting race. You had all the drivers at one point on pole position. You had Moran Evci on pole position, who's starting P9 now. You had Sar at one point, who I thought was starting P2, P13. That's just how close this field is, so I'm sure we'll be ready for an exciting 29 laps ahead of us.
Yes, and before we get down to the action, it's time to run through the grid for one more time, and I will take the first 10 and I'll let you take the rest. So starting on pole position for the first time this season, Giulia Chisetti starts P1, and accompanying her on the front row is championship leader and fellow championship rival Rahul Patel in second. Ekoto Sambi lines up third with his teammate Eric Novosad in fourth to make it, and all Team Impul second row. Very good qualifying for Team Impul today, as Aiden Smith starts in P5 with Leon Tremblant in 6th just behind him. Samet Özkan is 7th with Jafari Blackwood in 8th. Then there's Miran Evci in 9th with Zachary Fitzwater rounding out the top 10.
And then further down the grid, you've got Nit, the Estonian driver. You've really given me all the names that I can't pronounce, haven't you? Konditioner in P12.
Yeah, there you go.
Yay! We've got Sar in P13. Thought I was going to see him in P2, but apparently not, because I'm stupid. P14 is Adam, and not Adam, as I was calling him. P15, I'm just going to quickly look at the spreadsheet, and that is Chao Chainat.
Yeah.
Wow, I am just that good. P16 is Kang. P17 is Simpson. Material, P18. Timel rounding off the grid in P19, and then we have the GT3 safety car following everyone around the track. Yay.
Yep, and that is it then. Let's go down to the grid and get ready to go green. We've got 6 lights already, and we're underway here at Mandalika. Seems to be a good start for Chisetti, getting off the line well then, as Patel slotting into second immediately. Might be under pressure then from the Impul. I think that is going to be Eric Novosad on the inside line. Patel tries to move over to defend his second place as Chisetti leads heading into the first couple of corners. There behind as well seems to be Tremblant and Özkan fighting for P5, but Novosad actually facing pressure from his teammate here as Ekoto Sambi tries to go round the outside line as they head through sector 1. Then Novosad keeps it in third.
Yes, very, very, very exciting opening there. I think everyone's managed to keep it clean. The field all bunched together coming into the second sector. Watching Novosad now trying to make a move on Patel. Chisetti getting a dream start. Chisetti nearly half a second ahead of everyone, controlling the race from the front. Watching Fitzwater now coming through and up towards the final part of the circuit. I think watching Evci trying to make a move there. Evci up into down from P9 actually, if I remember correctly. Trying to make a move on Blackwood. That's Konnichiwa making a move on Evci. Evci's going to have the inside line for the next part of the circuit. I think Konnichiwa going to have the better exit. Just going to see what's going to happen now. Going to get down the inside of Evci. Evci's got to stay wide, giving him a bit of room. I think Evci might just keep it round the outside. Yes, Evci keeps it into the chicane. We're going to see now Fitzwater battling away with Ozkan, and he's got Smith for company coming into the second sector.
Yeah, Zachary Fitzwater Aiden Smith and Samet Özcan all fighting for P6 then. In the early stages of the race, Zachary Fitzwater having to worry about Aiden Smith. Smith might have to worry about Blackwood then, who's going to try and send the move on the inside line heading into turn number 10. They are wheel to wheel, but Smith seems to get the marginally better exit out of turn number 10, but through turn 11, Blackwood keeps it on the inside line, has the outside through turn 12 as they keep it wheel to wheel through the second sector. Then Smith on the inside line tries to push out Blackwood as wide as possible, and Jafari just has to see the position. Aiden Smith staying in 8th then.
Yep, and now all those cars bunching up into the final part of the circuit. Blackwood now, I don't think we're going to see too many overtakes now. It's kind of calming down a bit. I think there was a little bit of action back there. But onto the main straightaway we go. Fastest lap all the way down the field. You can see the purples illuminating the screen. I think that's all personal best. Fitzwater now, cutting back to Timel. I think we're just bouncing between the cars. Fitzwater, nothing really too much going on now. I think the track is very bendy and very twisty, and even though cars can go side by side, I think it's very hard to follow the cars through the corners, given how aerodynamic these Dallara chassis are. But I think Fitzwater's going to make a dive down the inside.
He is going to make the move. He's going to try it here on the inside of Samet Özcan. The two are going to go wheel to wheel for 6th position, and Zachary Fitzwater through turn 11 gets the move done. Clean move from Fitzwater. Yeah,
Fitzwater's making the move stick. That's some great racing there from Fitzwater. Up into P6 now. He's going to have Tremblant in his views, as I believe behind that was Smith going a little bit wide there. Smith probably struggling a bit with the tyres. I think that final corner, or the penultimate corner of the circuit, really heats those tyres up a lot, makes them lose a bit of grip coming through onto the exit there. As Patel now has caught up to Chisetti, these two cars sort of breaking away from the field. There's still a bit of a gap. There's still a bit of a small gap behind, but Chisetti's still in control of the race, holding on to the lead from pole position. Patel, I can't talk anymore. Patel, hello. Yes, Patel in hot pursuit down towards this. Would you call this a hairpin? Would you call that a hairpin?
I'm not sure, but I actually did want to bring that to your attention because the Mateusz Material launch a move to the inside line of Erki Nut here for 14th, as the two are going to go side by side then into turn 11. Material on the inside line there, Erki Nut trying to hang it on the outside, as the two are going to go wheel to wheel for P14. You got Pavosar in the background there as well, but Mateusz Material, even though he tried his best there, wasn't able to hang on. Pavosar, the other Estonian then on the field, is going to try to make a move on the outside of Material, but it just doesn't work. It's Chisetti now sets the fast lap of the race, and this is precisely what I wanted to bring to your attention, Jensen.
Yes.
As we're actually having a great battle here for P15 on our screens, but Chisetti, even though she got a very, very good launch and had a very good lap 1 compared to Patel, Patel was actually able to set the fastest lap on lap 3 and close down to the Italian woman, but Chisetti has actually been able to pull away now on this last lap. So you can see the gap was about 3-4 tenths of a second only 2 laps earlier. Now it's already gone up to 7 as Chisetti's increased the pace again.
Yes, Chisetti now, I think, pulling away a bit, that gap opening up a bit. I think when they were battling it out earlier, or at least Patel was very close, it was I think it's about half a second, but just watching now Tamel trying to make a move on Saar, getting into the slow and technical part of the circuit. Well, not slow, but slower than the rest of the circuit, technical part. Watching, I forgot the name already, so yes, P19 battling with Simpson. That's a wonderful move around the outside. I think Simpson might try and force away back into it. Forces ahead, has to sacrifice a bit on the exit to allow enough room. Simpson now round the outside, onto the main straightaway we go. Wheel to wheel down the straight in towards turn 1. I'm going to let Miran take over because I'm not doing justice by not knowing the driver names.
Yeah, as Chow Shynut now goes around the outside line of Courtney Simpson, and I think into turn 1 has gotten it done, unless Simpson's going to try to keep it wheel to wheel, but through the chicane, Chow Shynut gets the better of the Jamaican and goes up into P18. Great battle then, even though you could argue it is for the wooden spoon. It's great to see all the drivers going all out for every single position here in Super Formula. Going back up into the race lead then, you've got Chisetti, who set yet another fastest lap, and she is properly pulling away from Rahul Patel now. Gap is almost a second between the two, so Chisetti trying to secure at least an early advantage in the race. But the question is then if Patel is actually not able to keep up with Chisetti, or if he's trying to save the tyres a bit to maybe try and push later on.
Yes, trying to save some of the tyres because, of course, this is quite... It's one of those circuits where it's probably really easy to heat the tyres up and overdo it and start to use a bit of the tyre a bit more than you would want to do. Especially in that final part of the circuit, a lot of scrub on the tyres, a lot of wear that can happen, a lot of blistering, which could really, really ruin your race strategy if you're not careful about it. Pushing too hard here, you might make a few mistakes here and there, especially given the nature of the track. Very twisty, very turny, a lot of mechanical grip needed in some parts of the circuit. To watch your Material now trying to make a move, and I think that's Smith going just behind Ozcan, and now Material is going to make the move down the inside of Nip. Just going to see now who's going to come out ahead. I think Material just wheel to wheel. Material creeps ahead and gets the move done and steals P14 away from Nit, who's coming straight immediately under pressure from Saar. Saar around the outside takes the position and up into P15, and Nit loses 2 places in the span of 1 sector. That's a very, very misfortunate sector for him.
Yeah, that is not what Erkin needs, but I have to say, Pavel Saar pulling off a brilliant and a very opportunistic move then on his fellow compatriot Erkin there. And that sees the man in the Team Dandelion racing car drop down to P16, as we're looking at his teammate right now, Aidan Smith, who is faring a bit better in 8th then. He is currently chasing down Samet Özkan in 7th, so we'll see what Smith is going to be able to do. The man who scored points in all of the opening 3 races has proven himself as a very consistent points challenger and wants to add another points finish to his tally, but has to stomp on the brakes to avoid going into the back of Samet Özkan there.
Yes, just watching now onto lap 8 of 29. I think we should be seeing some of the cars dropping in soon for a set of fresh rubber. Smith now still in pursuit of Ozcan. She entered now the final completion of the circuit, which I probably said about 20,000 times. Smith not really going to be making any moves from that far behind. As I believe Chisetti is about a second up the road now from Patel. 2.5. Just drop a gear and disappear from Chisetti. Smith now, you can see a massive train forming all the way back, I believe, to P19. Field not really spreading out too much. Probably about a 15-second gap between 1st and 19th, which means any kind of major mistake you're going to make now is going to plummet you down the order. Smith still following Ozcan. Ozcan is about 2.5 seconds off the next car, P6, which is Fitzwater. I think there's a small battle going on here. Smith now, I think, it's just seen a little opportunity there to try and creep down the inside. I think Blackwood's just had a really poor exit there because I thought they weren't alongside, but now Smith has managed to reopen the opportunity wheel to wheel now. It's this final part of the circuit. It's a very fast left-hander now. Smith goes off the circuit a little bit there, trying to get Ozcan. Ozcan now forced to the outside line. Smith to the inside. Can Ozcan keep it? No. Smith takes the place. Or has he? I think that should probably seal it. No, he hasn't got the exit required. Ozcan takes the place back just across the finish line. Into turn 1 we go now. Can Smith finally seal this position for himself? And the answer is going to be no. As now Blackwood and Evchi get brought into this scrap. Blackwood now looking for a bit of the scrap. And I think he's forced Smith there to go a little bit wide. Blackwood there. Evchi also just appearing in the background. I think that trainer car's trying to catch up now. Blackwood now leading from Evchi. Ozcan leading Smith. And now Ozcan are going to see a move there. I think that's Evchi down the inside of Blackwood. Blackwood caught napping there, I think. Blackwood thinking he was going to make up an easy place with those two squabbling in front. Hasn't checked his mirrors. Miran Evchi now round the outside. Up towards this little left-hand corner kink here. I don't believe it's fully flat. It's not fully flat, but Evchi can't make the move stick, and now he's under pressure from Konechny.
Yeah, Konechny's gonna be able to try it again. Incredible battles we're witnessing here in the midfield then, as Konechny goes to the inside line, gets the outside through the final corner, tries to take the widest line possible through the final corner to get the best exit, but Evchi still gets the better of the Polish driver as we head down into turn number 1, and that is now going to give Konechny the inside line as the two go wheel to wheel. Evchi on the outside gets the better traction, going the long way around them, but Konechny is still going to try to keep it wheel to wheel with the Swede, but unfortunately for Emilia it's not enough, and Evchi stays in 10th. And I think you are right about Mandalika, Jensen. I do think it is a track that favors defenders more than overtakers, as it is very, very difficult to pass. Speaking of passing, Eric Novosad is definitely going to try and attempt it on Rahul Patel, but my point gets proven and Patel remains in second. And now I think it is getting a bit dangerous for Rahul Patel here, as we see Aidan Smith finally getting past Samet Özkan for 7th.
Yes, as we're saying now, I think just a bit now into that mid part of the race. Triceti disappearing as Patel now under pressure. Just watching Blackwood as that midfield battle's kind of dying down a bit now. The gaps are still very, very, very close, but not a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing as it stands. Everyone crossing the line. Kang improving on their time there. Into turn 1 we go. That train's still kind of forming itself. Smith now. Smith, after all that squabbling, has settled down. P7. 5 seconds behind Fitzwater in P6, which is going to be very hard to try and catch up to them without using all of your tyres up, without burning those tyres up. Just watching Noasad with Patel. Patel dropping back a bit from Triceti, and we're also watching Blackwood trying to make a move down the inside of Ozcan, and I think he's actually going to make it. Blackwood in front, and I think he's got the move done just before the next corner begins. There's some excellent racing there from Blackwood.
Yeah, Jafari Blackwood getting himself onto 8th. Samet Özkan dropping down the order, it seems like, and this is not what the Swede needs, because now he might just have his fellow compatriot Miran Evci try and pressure him for 9th here.
Yes. Just watching now, Miran Evci just trying to figure out a way to get past Ozcan, because Evci was getting very, very close in the previous laps. And I think Smith has just set the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 17.3. And Evci maintaining position. Don't think there's too many cars that are in striking range for an overtake, but we might see that change coming down towards that slow right-hand corner. Very obtuse corner, very, very acute corner, I should say. Got my maths terms wrong. I'm going to uni to study it, so I may as well just end it all now. Evci, possibly, can he make a move down the inside of Ozcan into the corner? I think the answer is yes. Pulls out to the inside line, hits the apex. And just going to see now, can Evci make a move? He's definitely gained on Ozcan. Gets that inside line, swaps to the outside line, which is on a swooping corner, can be very, very helpful. And I think it's going to have to take that inside line. This track being very, very good at promoting wheel-to-wheel racing, with a lot of the inside the line switching to the outside the line, switching to the inside line. As now Konechna making a move on Ozcan. Ozcan now going to have to defend for P10, as I don't think it's going to happen this time around. Maybe into turn 1. Just going to watch now, and Moran can take over.
Yeah, Konechna's going to go to the inside line, and Samet Özkan. Bad might just go to worse for the Swede, as now Emilia Konechna is going to go through the chicane, trying to go wheel to wheel, but Özkan is able to hold it off, and now this just creates a bit of a butterfly effect. You've got Ryan Adam now on the back of Konechna there, but Emilia not looking to let the position go. She's still hot on the back of Samet Özkan here, and could definitely try a move heading into turn number 10. Has a thought about it on the inside line, but ultimately backs out of it. There behind, though, is Kang onto a dab. Joseph Kang, who didn't qualify, or he didn't have the best of qualifyings at Mandalika, is trying to make up for it here in the race, as he's going to try to get past Ryan Adam up into 12th. But ultimately, the man who replaced him at Rookie Racing defends from the Super Formula Vice Champion.
Yes, as we're just watching now, there's a little bit of a tussle going on there between Material and Saar. Saar now, I think, losing the place slightly on exit, and Saar just dropping down the order a bit. I think they started in P13, if I remember correctly. Saar now trying to get back at Material on the outside line into the chicane again, which will switch back to the inside line. I think Saar just got a little bit loose there, a little bit of a twitch oversteer. Possibly the tyre starting to fade a little bit. Maybe not. God knows. Material now about a second off Kang. We're starting to see a lot of gaps open up across the field. P7 now. Smith has disappeared from Blackwood. As we're just watching again, Saar sticking behind Material. Back up towards the final sector they enter. And I think there won't be too many overtakes on this lap. Yeah, back to Miran.
Yeah. Important battles here in the midfield, then obviously not for points, but more for glory, I do suppose, as Giulia Cisetti now once again with the fastest lap of the race. She is really flying here at Mandalika today, determined to bounce back in the races that she missed, as Pavel Saar now still on the back of Mateusz Material for P14. What does surprise me here, obviously, Jensen, as we did see Eric Knowles at a few laps earlier, who was obviously pestering Rahul Patel, now seems to have dropped back. So the question here is then, is really anyone able to even match the pace of Cisetti at the moment?
I don't think so. Cisetti really just disappearing into the sunset. I think Cisetti's found a groove and just sticking to it. And I think no one's really going to be able to challenge them. There's about 14 laps to go here, probably 13 and a half laps to go here. Just watching Kang now getting past Adam or whatever. Cisetti, I think, probably just on another level today compared to the rest of the field. Probably just a track that really suits them. Very technical. There isn't too many high speed corners, I'd say. It's a very medium speed track, if that's probably the way to describe it. Not too many corners you can take flat. Just having to control it. Very technical. Saar still in the slipstream, but probably a little bit too far back. There's Simpson now. Simpson's dropped all the way to the back, which is a little bit concerning. I think Simpson was at the back before. I think I'm just hallucinating. As I think the closest battle we're going to see on track right now is this little train here from Saar. I think pretty much everyone from P19 all the way up to P12 in their own little train. hopefully some overtaking action. I think there is going to be an overtake at the back there, as that is not even going to try and pronounce that. Timel defending well from Chao Chanat. I think I've got that right.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, cheeky spreadsheet look. Chao Chanat now trying to make a move on Timel. Round the outside we go. Timel, can they keep to the inside? There's lots of lines to take through that corner, especially when you're defending.
Ooh, I think there was contact there. Yeah, there was.
A little bit of contact. Yeah, tiny bit of contact. A little bit of smoke from the friction to the contact there. Is Patel actually gaining a little bit there on that lap on Chisetti. Chao Chanat round the outside again of Timel. Hopefully, this time for good. Yeah, back to Miran.
Yeah, Chao Chanat making it stick for 17th this time. Courtney Simpson is trying to get himself out of last as well. As we're now looking at Zachary Fitzwater, he is chasing down his teammate Leon Tremblant for P5, as he's at least caught up with him. As we're now looking at Mateusz Material, still chasing down Ryan Adam, and he's going to try to go to the inside line of the Italian driver. Through turn 11 we go. Material on the outside line tries to get the move done, or at least tries to keep it side by side, but Adam able to defend his position then for now.
And GS Adam doing very well, holding on to his position there. Just going to see now, we're well past the halfway mark in the race now. Patel is slowly creeping up on Chisetti here. I don't think it's going to be enough for the end, unless Chisetti, the reason why Chisetti has pulled such a gap is that they've pushed the tyres too hard, and now it's going to start punishing them. So I think they've just dropped about 0.2 through that first sector to Patel, which over a lap, in my head, that's about 0.6 of a second, which means that Patel could possibly, on that pace, could catch up within 6 or 7 laps. Just watching SAR now, the field started to bunch out a lot. Yes, not too much to report on at this stage in the race. Lots of scraps in the midfield. Very exciting racing here and there into the acute right-hand corner. I got that right this time. Maths degree restored. Yes, Material cutting ahead to Fitzwater. The battle for P5 between the two teammates, Fitzwater and Tremblant. Just starting on lap 20 now. Chisetti crossing the line. Patel has really caught up that time round. Surprising, because the gap was 4.2 seconds. It's now down to 3.6. Any reason why Chisetti's probably starting to drop off a bit on the pace now, Moran?
I'd say maybe she's got a 4-second gap, and I think that's giving her a bit of breathing room. So if she just feels like she can't push any longer and has to maybe conserve tires, she can afford to do that for a bit, and I think that's what she's doing now. And now Rahul is just taking the opportunity to try and close in as much as possible on the Italian. But we'll see if Patel will be able to close in before Chisetti decides to get up to speed again.
Yeah, as you were saying about that, Patel is still gaining on Chisetti. So is it just a one-off occasion of Patel being a slight bit faster? I think Patel is genuinely faster than Chisetti at this point in the race. As you're watching now on your screen, Kang overtaking Konechna for P11. My throat is starting to go a bit, but Kang now got a bit of a way to go to catch up to Ozkan. 2 seconds to try and catch up. But Patel, over the last 2 laps, has brought that gap down from 4.2 to 2.9. So that is your battle to look out for in the future. It's going to set us up for a very exciting finale if it keeps going as it is. So just watching now, Kang crossing the line starts lap 21 of the race. Yeah,
it is looking very, very spicy in the championship so far, as Kang might be able to get up into P10 if he is able to push it, as we're now looking at Fitzwater once again on the back of his Kondo Racing teammate Leon Tremblant, and we will see if Fitzwater might even try and attempt a little cheeky move on his Luxembourger teammate.
Yes, getting to that part of the circuit now where you could possibly make an overtake down the inside into the penultimate corner, that little right hand. I want to say that's a hairpin. That's a hairpin, isn't it? This is definitely a hairpin. Yeah.
I guess you could say it is, yeah, but I feel like a hairpin's maybe a bit more tighter. I don't know. Someone else is going to have to correct us on our racing terminology.
Yes.
Either way, we're seeing Fitzwater chase down Tremblant down the straight, and Jamie, no, not Jamie, I'm confusing my commentators here. Sorry, Jensen. Patel, the gap is down to 2.1, so he is really just cutting down that gap as the laps go by.
Yeah, and it's going to help Patel a lot, especially in a championship race. Patel would be building off of that second place last time out and really extending that championship lead, 20-point gap. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely Patel will be hoping for the race win here today. As we're now seeing Mateusz Material still trying it on Ryan Adam, but this time isn't close enough to even go up and alongside the Italian just yet. So Material having to stay behind. We might have to worry about Pavel Sar there behind as well. So we'll just have to wait and see what is going to happen here, as Mateusz Material still trying to just find that little gap, that little opportunity to maybe make a move on Ryan Adam, but yeah, there are no cracks showing in the Italians driving at the moment.
Yes, just pointing your direction, your attention back to that battle up at the front, or the ensuing battle at the front. The gap has remained at 1.8 seconds as Patel just lost a bit of pace there. It is slowly coming down, but not as rapidly as I thought it would. Adam now entering towards that little right-hand section of the circuit. Just seen, I think, Material just behind, under pressure from Sar, or Material pressuring Adam. I'm getting my drivers mixed up there. But now Sar is actually pressuring Material, just a little bit back there. Going into this final section of the circuit, the final sector. That bit really reminds me a lot of Sepang, the left-right bit, just before. I think it's just after the end of Sector 2. Yeah, it is. So just watching now into the final part of the circuit. I think there was a move just back there. I think Nit's trying to make a move on Sar. Just going to see now into turn 1. And that gap between Patel and Chisetti is definitely coming down now. Nit onto the inside of Sar. Don't think it's going to happen. I think Nit just having to back out a little bit there. But we're going to see now into the chicane whether anything will change. The answer to that question is no.
Yeah, and a lot of battles going on in midfield down here today, especially these guys. The likes of Pavel Sar and Erki Nit and Mateusz Material have all been involved in their fair share of battles today. And even if it isn't for points, obviously there is still glory at stake. And Nit, now as he is focusing on trying to get Pavel Sar there, he might have to worry about Funktionok Chow Shainat there behind in 17th. So yeah, things are certainly looking close in the midfield, and as we're seeing Rahul Patel just gaining and gaining in these last few laps of the race, we could have it quite close in the race lead. But as you said, Jensen, Patel seems to be slowing down a bit, and even though he was lapping way faster than Chisetti in those last few laps, it has always been advantage Giulia Chisetti, since Patel is the one who's had to put in all the hard work and Chisetti, who already had the 4-second gap, could just start getting up to speed again whenever she felt like it.
Yes, definitely conserving a bit of tyres there, maybe. Patel having to use all of his tyres to basically try and close that gap, and Chisetti, who's been coasting since probably about lap 5, with a lot of life left in the tyre, can afford to push in these final 5 laps. Just watching now, no overtakes into this section of the track, as just with Adam again, half a second to Konechna, who's in P12. Just a reminder, if you're not familiar with the point system, top 10, I believe, gets points. I am correct with that, aren't I, Baran?
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am correct. I am always correct. Like, there's nothing that... everything I say is always factually 100% correct. So, yes. Adam still P13, and Patel has dropped off a bit. The gap is 1.8 seconds now. It's 1.6 at the end of lap 24. At the end of lap 25, it's 1.8. So, do you think Chisetti's got this in the bag, or are you just going to say it's motor racing, anything can happen?
It is motor racing, Jensen. Anything can happen, as we have seen many different times in the ACOC. I like to not call the shots before the race ends, because I have a very bad history of jinxing drivers, so I will not say anything here.
So I'll do it on your behalf. I reckon Patel will catch up and we'll have a nice battle on the last lap. That's very optimistic of me, but still, man can dream.
Man can indeed dream, as we're witnessing one nice battle, albeit it is for P13 here, between Mateusz Material and Ryan Adam. Adam holding him off though, but Material still adamant to get past here as he switches to the inside line then through the chicane and heading down to the penultimate corner, round the outside. Mateusz Material will go. Is that going to be enough for him to try and get the move done? As Adam is there on the inside line through the final corner, Material goes on the inside line, and I think that should be it. Good stuff from Mateusz Material. Great battle once again, but it might not just be over yet, as Ryan Adam's going to try to go to the inside line. Thought about the outside, switch to the inside in the final moment, but it might have been too late of a switch, as Mateusz Material, after all of his perseverance, finally gets up into P13. Great stuff from Mateusz Material.
Yes, Material now taking that place from Adam. I thought Adam had that place well and truly secured for the end of the race, but as Miran said earlier, and as I said earlier, it's motor racing, anything can happen. One thing which I don't think is going to happen anymore is Patel catching Chisetti. Man's dream is over. 2-second gap between first and second. I don't think that gap's going to come down over the next few laps. There's only 3 laps to go here. Chisetti is about to cross the line, making it 2 laps to go. So that's always going to be fun. And I'll pass it back to Miran.
Yeah, 2 laps to go. I think it is just a bit too big of a gap between the two at the moment for Patel to do anything. Even if we just suddenly turn on the hyperdrive now and start gaining, obviously, as one very famous quote goes, getting close is one thing, passing is another. So yeah, safe to say for Rahul, unfortunately, I think time has run out for the Indian driver to attempt a move, and I think it might just be Chisetti's race to lose now.
Yes, it's old Jehovah, as you say.
It is. But yeah, as we're on lap 28 to 29, just entering the dying stage of the race, but that doesn't mean that the action is dying down. We're going to have Pavel Sar try a move on the inside line, and Ryan Adam there. Adam doesn't want to tumble down the order here, tries to put up the best of defensive works that he can towards Pavel Sar, and is able to hold the Estonian at bay as the top 2 now start the final lap of the race. And we've got some pretty spicy midfield battles going on here then.
Yes, I think it's now Chisetti's race to lose. I think that's probably the top 5 or probably top 4, I should say. They're order sealed. I think Fitzwater and Smith could probably take it to Triple Hunt in the final stages of the lap. But this midfield fight has been raging on all race long, and I don't think it's just going to stop just because it's the last lap. I think it's everything to play for now. Even though there's no points on offer, it's all for glory. And now, the closest out of any of the cars back there to the car in front, half a second to Saar, who we've just cut to. Saar now gaining on Adam hoping not to slide down the order any more than they have done today, as Chisetti and Patel now heading up towards that final completion of the circuit, just busy with Saar. And now Chisetti, who has dominated all the way from the start of the race. I'll let Miran finish the race off.
Thank you. As she will come round the final corner. Injury won't stop her. She's going to take her second win of the season. Giulia Chisetti wins at Mandalika. Rahul Patel coming home for a third podium. 3 P2s in 4 races. Talk about consistency on that one. And Eric Nosal comes home for his first podium of the season. And yeah, we're just waiting for everyone to cross the line then. But yeah, safe to say, arguably quite the dominant weekend from Chisetti here today.
Yes, Chisetti leading from lights to flag, pole position. I think that was the fastest lap of the race as well from Chisetti. So that's a Grand Slam, isn't it? Pretty much.
It is, yeah.
That's a Grand Slam all the way. Pole, fastest lap, led every lap. I think that's perfection right there.
Yeah, and to do that in a spec series as well, that takes skill to say the least. Either way, now then, championship is looking very, very close. But yeah, just going through the final finishers then. Your podium is Giulia Chisetti taking the win, followed by Rahul Patel and Eric Noasad. Ikoto Sambi finishing in 4th with Leon Tremblant and Zachary Fitzwater, the 2 Kondo Racing cars finishing P5 and P6. Good day in the office for Kondo Racing. And then you've got Aidan Smith in 7th with Jafari Blackwood in 8th. Then the 2 Swedes, Miran Evji and Samet Özkan rounding out the top 10, followed by Joseph Kang in 11th with Emilia Konishina in 12th, followed by her fellow compatriot Mateusz Material in 13th. Ryan Adam is 14th with Pavel Sar in P15, followed by his fellow compatriot Erkinit in 16th. A lot of drivers with the same nationality finishing close to each other. Recurring theme I do see, as Functional Shashinat is 17th, and rounding off the grid is Linus Timel in 18th and Courtney Simpson in 19th. And I think that has been it then for Super Formula here today. Thank you so much for watching this race. And before we go, Jensen, time to answer the ever so difficult question of driver of the day. And I'll let you go first.
I think this is a really, really boring answer considering we've just been praising them so heavily, but it's just got to be Chisetti answer. To be honest, pole, lead all of the way, and to just be that dominant in a spec series car. I think as much as you could say like, oh, this guy went from P12 to P5 or whatever, I think to have that level of domination across the entire weekend, that's something that has to be recognised.
I echo your words, Jensen, and I think I'll give it to Chisetti as well, especially coming back from an injury as well. She had a very, very big crash at Okayama and then had to sit out Sebring, and obviously to sit out or to not finish 2 races and having to sit out one is not easy, especially on the driver. So to come back and just prove everyone wrong by pulling off such a dominant drive is absolutely incredible from Chisetti. I think it's a really, really deserved win from her as well. So she gets my driver of the day as well. Nothing more to say then. That's been it for Super Formula. Thanks so much for watching. Next round of Super Formula, we will continue the Asian campaign as we head to Malaysia for the Sepang International Circuit. So make sure to not miss that. But until then, I have been Miran.
And I've been Jensen.
Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you